Right, 1 January 2025, and today I'm very excited to be giving you my first update of the year. And this year is going to be very, very interesting. It's a year that is going to be like none other year that we've seen in the past. And I declare this the year of change. So you're going to see a lot of changes in Zimbabwe. And I'm so happy that over the past 2024, we did a lot. But what we're going to do now this year is even more. It's going to be even more than we did last year, because this year Zimbabwe is going corporate. So we're going to be doing more things on the ground, and the things that are going to push us forward in our strategy. But talking about what is happening in Zimbabwe, drama has already started, and it started yesterday. So there's been a major announcement in Zimbabwe yesterday, and this announcement is to do with the retirement age of the military and civil service. So Mnangagwa is making the first move on Chiwenga, and the strategy of Mnangagwa is becoming more and more clear. What he wants to do with Chiwenga and what he wants to do with Mohadi. So Mnangagwa has had a hard time with his vice president, who is very powerful, and I know that he doesn't like it. He doesn't like the fact that Chiwenga is so powerful. So what Mnangagwa has done is that he has extended the retirement age of the army, which basically allows him to get some breathing space while Valerio Sibanda is sitting as commander of the defense forces. So this announcement was made yesterday. Civil servants and members of the military can now serve up to 70 years. And this is the first step by Mnangagwa to get rid of Chiwenga. So within the next few days, Mnangagwa is going to announce his new cabinet or his new appointments. So there are going to be some changes in the appointments that Mnangagwa is going to make. And one of those changes is going to affect Chiwenga. I do not know in which way, but I expect Mohadi to get fired or to get retired in a nice way. The man is sick. He's so sick that yesterday he failed to appear on anything. So yesterday he was supposed to appear in public, but he has failed to appear. So it's clear that Mohadi is very, very sick, and he cannot be a vice president for a long time. So they're going to get rid of him. But it's clear to me that the replacement is going to be very surprising. I wouldn't be surprised if Mnangagwa was to put one of his sons as the vice president, or even do a crazy thing and appoint his wife. And guys, don't take this lightly what I'm saying here. It's possible that Mnangagwa can even appoint his wife. Currently, Auxilia Mnangagwa is basically the acting president of Zimbabwe. As we speak right now, yesterday, she officiated at the death, at the funeral of Owen Mudha Ncube's mother. So that is Auxilia Mnangagwa. She was out there yesterday doing government business on behalf of Mohadi. Mohadi cannot walk, he cannot talk, and he's totally out of it in bed. So at the moment as we speak, Auxilia Mnangagwa is the acting president of Zimbabwe. And the legal framework that is now in place makes it possible for Valerio Sibanda, who is the preferred vice president and successor by Mnangagwa, to get a breather. I think it is for a year, because he is also around 70 years. So it says that provided that a member who has been a member on the pensionable condition of service immediately before the effective date has had continuous service, as such member since that date may not be required in terms of this subsection to retire before attaining the age of 70 years. So a member of the military and a member of the public service can go now to 70 years. This has been gazetted. What they did is that at the same time that they announced the abolition of the death penalty in Zimbabwe, they also put this thing out. So Valerio Sibanda is going to stick around in the army. I don't know for how many months, but he is still there. If he's 70 years, he can still continue as commander of the defense forces. So this whole change was met for Chiwenga, this extension of the commander of the defense forces or members of the public service to be able to go over 70 years old. This was done for Chiwenga. They are trying to make sure that he stays. So Valerio Sibanda is going to play a very key part and is the person who is being prepared here to take over from Ana Chiwenga. So as I'm saying, I just said take over from Chiwenga. That position of vice president, there are going to be two changes. And I'm anticipating that Opan Chinguri will take one of them. And then you are going to see Valerio Sibanda taking the other position of vice president, which makes Mnangagwa very, very safe. Or Mnangagwa is going to appoint one of his family members as the other vice president. So a big move coming within this year of 2025. You're going to see a big move. And obviously the ministers are also going to change. You are going to see a big change in the ministers. You have seen Barbara coming back to walk around with Auxilia Mnangagwa. She had gone away, and you've seen ministers that were hibernating now coming out in the public, trying to show their face. So a big change coming, but it's actually not a big change. This whole group is not effective. So these guys are not effective in office. Mnangagwa is not doing anything of interest. All we're going to see is infighting within Zanu-PF. That is what is happening, and a lot of movement within Zanu-PF, but nothing nationally. This is all Zanu-PF. For the next 10 years, the moves you're going to see are going to be in Zanu-PF and in the military. So until 2035, most of the moves you're going to see revolve around Zanu-PF as we go into a transitional period. So Zimbabwe is going to a transitional period. However, the situation in Mozambique is going to be very, very important. If there is a change of government in Mozambique, Mnangagwa's government will not last even 1 week. They are going to drop. And you can see how popular Venancio Mondlane is. He has been declared Man of the Year in multiple countries in Africa. I think this is what he has posted on his Facebook this morning. And I believe that these are the guys in Angola. So people in Angola have named him Man of the Year. Many other countries. So Venancio Mondlane is going to make a big change in Mozambique. And that is going to have a big impact on Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa has failed to deal with the situation in Mozambique. And the SADC troika has had to step in. Yesterday, they issued a statement. If you looked at the statement from SADC, they said clearly that there is a problem in Mozambique. It's very rare for SADC to speak on another country. They normally speak behind the scenes. But the SADC troika has issued a statement on Mozambique. This situation implicates Mnangagwa. He's the one who assisted with the rigging in Mozambique. And you can clearly see that they are being diplomatic, but it's very rare for the SADC troika to issue a statement on a country. SADC calls upon all parties to exercise restraint and refrain from actions that escalate violence. This comes after over 400 people have been killed in Mozambique. Protesters, police, soldiers. There's a lot of people that have died in Mozambique. And Mnangagwa, who is the chairman of SADC, has been quiet. He's not issued any statement. This is because if Mnangagwa makes a mistake, the Mozambique situation is the situation that can change the government of Zimbabwe. Right, so I think I've given two big stories over there. In fact, three big stories. That is the move to extend the retirement age of the military and civil service. Mohadi failing to do anything, still sleeping in bed, and SADC issuing a statement on the situation in Mozambique on the very last day of the year. And this is very important. These are important developments. And we hope to see what Chiwenga does. It's very important what Chiwenga is going to do. Yeah, Chiwenga is, the actions that Chiwenga is going to take are very, very important because he's the man that is supposed to take Zimbabwe to the next level. So if Chiwenga fails to act and allows the situation to continue the way it is, eventually Mnangagwa is going to be brave enough to move. And I'm expecting this move before Chiwenga takes over as acting president, because once Chiwenga takes over as acting president, the whole situation becomes very different. Then on the screen, you can see Mzembi. He met with Savior Kasukuwere. Kasukuwere, I don't see him as anything in the future. So Savior Kasukuwere is just going to be Savior, but he's got no plan. The day he failed to come to Zimbabwe, when he was supposed to contest as a presidential candidate, I knew that he was going nowhere. This man does not have a presidential qualities, so he's not a presidential material. Savior Kasukuwere, he is just a person that was popular in the past, and he does not even have a political party. So Savior Kasukuwere, seriously weakened, no plan, no potential activity coming from him. Don't expect to see anything from this guy except tweets and videos on SABC. That is what you're going to see. The man has got no plan. This man was supposed to make an impact in Zanu-PF, and he failed to do so during the elections. He allowed the legal team of Mnangagwa to outsmart him leading up to the elections, and he did not come into the country to become effective. So basically, Savior Kasukuwere is going to become one of those people who tried, but did not get anywhere in 2024 and beyond. Then on Chiwenga's side, the person who is actually communicating is the wife. So Keno Mini Baloy, she has been communicating on the pages. She's been sharing a lot of pictures, very interesting pictures that she shared yesterday. So this is pictures of a wedding that she's sharing, a wedding with General Chiwenga. And I think these pictures are very interesting because she is showing here Mnangagwa with her husband, very nice pictures. She's also showing, she's also showing Mohadi when he was still healthy. You can see Mohadi over there when he was still very, very strong, handing over a gift. And you can see, so let's find another one with Auxilia Mnangagwa over there with Mohadi and with Mnangagwa. So these are the enemies. The enemies standing on one side. So this is very interesting picture. I've never seen Auxilia wearing that dress. You know that I always laugh at Auxilia Mnangagwa's dresses. Especially when she tries to wear national attire, that thing doesn't do well for her. Her shape is not made for those dresses. And this is much better. I think that was the only dress that I ever saw Auxilia wearing. That makes sense. Yesterday she was at the funeral. Look what she was wearing. I don't know what those colors are. They were not coordinated at all. And normally Auxilia tends to wear clothes that don't go with the dress code. So if you say the dress code is green, she's going to come wearing yellow. That's crazy. And then you can see Opam Chinguri here. Opam Chinguri, I don't know what to think about her. I don't know how. I don't know if I like the way she looks or not. Like I don't get her at all. Opam Chinguri. Let's see. You see this picture. She's on the dress code. She followed the dress code. This was green. Look at Keno Mini there. Ndara had a choice, but look at that. That is Opam Chinguri. I'm sure they did a lot of work to clean it up. I don't know if she's young or old. That is the thing with with Opam Chinguri. She tends to she's got her days. So some days she looks good, some days she doesn't. But this wedding, they did very, very well. She's sharing Mini. And I think when you look at Opam Chinguri, look closely at the way she dresses. Very interesting wherever she goes. And obviously, these pictures are going to be defining what you see here is the top of Zimbabwean politics. The people at the very top, everyone who is everyone is over here. And this is a period of celebration that Mini is showing here. And probably a call for reconciliation between these guys. So someone level-headed coming in between the top. But it's going to be war. So war starts in 2025. There's going to be fighting at the top. And you're going to see Mnangagwa and Chiwenga fighting each other in public. These are the last pictures that these men have taken together during times of happiness. So during this time, Chiwenga was laid back, enjoying his life, and Mnangagwa was not yet started with the ED 2030. The coming of the ED 2030, one of the most stupid moves that Mnangagwa has ever made, because this is how Mnangagwa is going to be kicked out of office. But as I say, Mnangagwa is not going to go without a fight. And before Chiwenga becomes president, he must be relieved of that position of vice president. There is no way that Chiwenga is going to jump from vice president to president. There is going to be a day when Chiwenga is going to leave that position, and then he has to come back from outside with his own team. Because at the moment, Chiwenga has got no team. He's part of Mnangagwa's team, and it won't work. Right, let's see if there's anything else. There is a big story in the H Metro newspaper. Let me see if the H Metro is published. So I know they've got a big story going. So I don't know where they're publishing these days. But they lose the subscription or something, because I don't see the updates on our platform. So I'm not seeing the updates. So let me show you what big story has happened at H Metro. This lady has been on the run since 2018, and she killed her husband in Zimbabwe. So she came back yesterday, just as they cancelled the death penalty. This woman who had killed her husband in cold blood has come back to Zimbabwe. So the lawyers were probably just waiting for her not to be killed, because they were going to put her on death row. So let me show you the picture. This Zimbabwean woman here murdered her husband, a very prominent businessman in Zimbabwe. In 2018, she shot him dead while he was asleep in bed. So I want to show you the picture very quickly so that we don't get misunderstood for talking about things we don't know. So here is, just a second. Right, so on our screen, here is the woman from Zimbabwe. So she is, let's say them. I don't know why I'm missing this lady's name. Let's look very carefully here. So the wife of slain businessman McLeod Mapanga, who appeared in court in 2018, charged with his murder before going on the run soon after he's been rearrested. So this woman is in custody. She's called Bridget Makaza, and she's accused of shooting dead McLeod Mapanga in cold blood after he married another woman on 14 May 2018. So after he married another woman, she then waited for him to go to bed and sleep. She woke up and took a gun and shot him 3 times in Zimbabwe. So this happened in Zimbabwe on 14 May 2018. She then screamed murder. So she screamed as if a robber had entered the house. And while everyone was reacting to that scream, she took the gun and ran away and drove off and threw the gun in Mukuvisi River. But she didn't throw the gun inside the river. She stored it, she threw it into the reeds. That is how police managed to find a fingerprint on the gun. And then she went to Mabren police station, where she filed a false police report saying that armed robbers has entered the house and killed her husband. So this is the woman. She's been on the run. She was in the UK, and then she has come back to face justice just on the day when they cancelled the death penalty. And she then appeared in court. After she appeared in court, they gave a bail, and then Bridget Makaza fled to the UK, where she was based. So this is the woman in Zimbabwe. This is like a movie. You can make a movie out of this whole situation. And most guys, they make a mistake of marrying a second wife when you've got such a strong woman. So you can't do that. Like, this is what happened. This woman, you can see it in her eyes. She cannot share a man with anyone. She's going to take you out. And she did. And on top of that, she bribed a lot of people to get out of Zimbabwe. You know that if you murder someone like that, you can't be on bail. I always tell you that if you see someone who is on bail for murder or for rape, that person is paid. And the Zimbabwe justice system is very dirty, very, very dirty. They allow such things to happen. And Mdara MacLeod Mapanga died in cold blood because of this situation. Then let's look at other newspapers. I want to look at the Chronicle newspaper. If there anything in the Chronicle newspaper, very interesting newspaper. I always look at this newspaper every morning. So we are going to see less of Mnangagwa, more of Auxilia Mnangagwa and the sons. So yesterday David was there, and let's look at the story that is making headlines in Bulawayo, which is police have shut down Haddon and Sly and Amara Mo in Bulawayo. So this is because people are not paying duty, and scores of traders operating Haddon Sly in Amara Mo in Bulawayo Central Business District were locked out yesterday after Zimra closed the premises as part of a blitz targeting smuggled goods and counterfeit products. So if you don't pay duty, they've been going around closing down everything. And so it says retail outlets and sprouting letterbox shops are also subject to inspections, where shop owners are asked to provide documentation proving their stock was imported legally. So this is crazy. I have never seen anything like this, but this is what is happening in Zimbabwe. You can go check that out in the Chronicle newspaper, and let's see if there's anything of interest here. I'm seeing some familiar faces. Let me see. Right, so Mdara Mandaza, Kenneth Mandaza, is writing now for the Chronicle newspaper. Can you believe it? So that's a promotion, right? So that's Mandaza here. Check it out. So Mandaza, I do not know if he's a member of ZANU or a member of CIO. So I don't know. Remember what Jonas said. He said members of ZANU are also members of CIO. So when I talk to Mandaza, I'm always careful. What exactly is happening? Who is this guy? So Mandaza is writing here, life in Rhodesia under Smith cannot be compared to life in independent Zimbabwe. Yes, you cannot compare life in these two, because life in Rhodesia was peaceful. You could earn money and you could buy something. In Zimbabwe, everyone is a vendor and everyone just drinks sewage. So you can see it's better in Rhodesia. Now look at this dam. This is Gwashangani. They're also showing this chair of the parliamentary portfolio committee. What? I'm showing you this just to show you with Mandaza. I spent so much time with Mandaza. Like, guys, when I'm saying I spent time with Mandaza, I literally drove to Mandaza's house and dropped him off when we're coming from a presentation. So I went to Zanu-PF, many Zanu-PF South Africa functions to film. And I spent so many times with this man. These guys are normal people, and Mandaza, but I don't know what Zanu Ishavi Herena Chi. Kana munapinda mZANU, they have to support nonsense. So that is what is happening to Mandaza. They're supporting this garbage which is happening in Zimbabwe. And to make matters worse, Mandaza, they stay in UK. There is no day in the UK when you are going to have electricity going away for 4 days and people drinking sewage and no food and an economy like what we have. Millions and millions of Zimbabweans over there. But we still have guys like this who believe that life in Zimbabwe is good. And I cannot believe it. Why they believe that, it's unbelievable to me. And these guys are not doing well. Like, no one in Zanu-PF is making money. If you meet Zanu-PF guys and you go to their homes, some of them are actually struggling. So in fact, 99% of the people in Zanu-PF are struggling. They don't make money. They have to struggle even to do the basic things. And I'm talking here about Most of the guys who called spokesperson of Zanu-PF, like Mandas, they had nothing from Zanu. Like they never gave him a car or anything. He was just a spokesman of Zanu-PF. He had nothing. Everywhere he went, he did so much work for them and they didn't give him anything. That's how they repay you in Zanu. And then you have to defend the very same thing that is impoverishing you. Crazy stuff, and unbelievable. And Mnangagwa, life under Mnangagwa is the worst life you can ever live. Mnangagwa, Arkureva Nenzara, including Vezan. Then obviously, I want to look at some very, very interesting people. Nelson Chamisa, amazing work. End of the year, he started very quietly, but he's done very, very well. And we haven't had so much drama on social media this year, but the drama is starting. If you know this young lady, Nauno Reurura, this is the Zimbabwean. This is the young lady who is now hot on social media. If you know her, Nauno Reurura. So people like our social media is also developing. It's becoming more, what can I say, mainstream. So ever since the coming of Starlink, Zimbabwe media has seen a massive outbreak or growth. So on a daily basis, when I do this bulletin, I used to reach like 20,000 or 30,000 people. Now we can easily reach 50 to 100,000 people a day. And it's all over the country. You know that many people share a connection. So when I sit here, many people are sharing a connection. So we're reaching thousands and thousands of people in the rural areas. I don't know what the implications of that is for the next election. It's going to be very big. And when you walk in the rural areas, you're probably going to see more people who know Zimbabwe than anyone else. But that also means platforms like ZBC, platforms like Chronicle, Herald, they are also reaching more people. And the lies that they spread, if they go unchallenged, that also has an impact. So the private media has been bought out. Mnangagwa has bought out all the newspapers that used to belong to Trevor Ncube. So now the private press and the public press is owned by Mnangagwa. It only have a few newspapers or a few platforms that don't support Mnangagwa. As you know, Mnangagwa came and raided our whole newsroom. So the guys who used to work for Zimbabwe, most of them last year were doing promotional work for the projects, Zanambudzi and all that nonsense. You clearly know that this was paid work. And this was because of Passion Java, who has disappeared. You can see good Passion Java has disappeared. But that was his plan, promoting some work that Mnangagwa is supposed to have done, but which he didn't do. And this was through YouTubers. They started very funny in the beginning. Mnangagwa and the guys in the CIO created hundreds and hundreds of channels. That is soon after the elections, which would just talk garbage and confuse the situation. And then as the year began, they started to try to promote this, bring in foreign YouTubers, local YouTubers. But the important thing is that obviously nothing can beat a channel like Zimbabwe, where I'm actually here every day. So Vese, I was so after about a month or two, they stop and they go away. But basically, the point I'm trying to make is Starlink is going to continue to penetrate and the landscape is changing. Now, let's see what the comments say. For the 27th, don't worry, Mdara. This is not popcorn. So, Mkoma pharmacist, you think politics is popcorn. It's not popcorn. Popcorn, what is going to happen is big. And it's going to happen in public. So you won't wait for Zimbabwe to tell you that something happened. You are going to see it in public. The change that is coming is shocking and it's big. But we're going into a transitional period, and that transitional period must come. You cannot jump from one person to another. So wait for that period in between. Look at what has happened in Mozambique since October. That is how long it's taken to change the pattern. These guys don't move slowly. And most of them, they are going to be pushed They're not going to come out by themselves. So if Chiwenga doesn't do it, someone else is going to do it. And this is important. So remember, Chiwenga is the man that is next in line. Mnangagwa is trying to stop him from coming. So that's the first thing we have to finish before we go anywhere else. In Zanu must be sorted. They must sort themselves out. Once Zanu-PF is done, then we'll go to the transitional period, after which we're going to get an opposition party coming into office. Don't think Chamisa is going to walk into State House. It's not going to be like that. Look at what has happened to Venancio Mondlane. This man has been fighting every day, but he's still not in office. Do you get what I'm saying? So October, November, December, there's 3 months of fighting. That man is still not in office. And if he steps his foot on Mozambique soil, they're going to kill him. That is what they're going to do. They're going to take a gun and shoot him. So how is he going to become president? You see, that question has to be answered. How is Venancio Mondlane going to be president if he can't stop or go into Mozambique soil? So if Venancio now stands up and says, I'm declaring myself president of Mozambique, he's going to be a president in exile. He's not going to be a president in Mozambique. That is very important for you to understand. Transition takes time. And when transition happens, the first thing that is going to happen is that there must be fighting. So someone must fight. And then you have a transition. These liberation movements don't move easily. They move by force. That is how you remove them. And it's not easy because in the case of Zimbabwe, no one is willing to use force. This year was very defining because I had said to people, let's go and demonstrate or protest in Zambia. You saw what happened. Even in Zambia, Zimbabweans were afraid to go there. And they are afraid because they do not know what will happen next. So mostly Zimbabweans don't know what happens when this man goes, Mnangagwa. I'm clear about what happens when Mnangagwa goes. The day Mnangagwa goes, everything becomes fine in Zimbabwe. It will take less than a week for Zimbabwe to be fine after I remove Mnangagwa. But many people don't know. They are paralyzed by fear. So it's like a bunch of sheep just standing around, waiting for someone to give direction. Which way do we go? And the direction is very clear. The whole country needs to be reset. Systems need to be rebuilt. A new leader needs to come. And then Zimbabwe will quickly develop. Under Mnangagwa, Zimbabwe is not developing. Mnangagwa has got no plan. And Mnangagwa, Arkura Yavanu, Nzara. So, what do I say? The next week, very, very critical. Let's see what Mohadi does. Remember, Mohadi is in bed right now. So they're probably looking for energy pills and so forth. I said Mohadi must call me and get him there. He is in bed right now. He's not able to do anything. His days are moving. So day one, it's 18 days to go before Chiwenga become acting president. This is not going to be allowed. You are not going to see Chiwenga as the acting president. They won't allow it. Whatever happens in between is going to happen. But Chiwenga will not be allowed to become the acting president. So Mnangagwa is going to make a plan for Chiwenga between now and the 17th of January, when he's supposed to become the acting president. They're going to make sure that something happens. Either they're going to fire him or they're going to checkmate him with Valerio Sibanda becoming the second VP after the retirement of Mohadi. Or Mohadi is going to drop because he's very sick. So people say Mohadi is moving around, Mohadi is doing this, but this man is very sick. He's not able to talk. He's just about to drop. So Mnangagwa is going to have to make a decision. And the people to watch are Opam Chinguri, Valerio Sibanda, or one of the family members of Mnangagwa. He can do a crazy thing and appoint his wife or one of his children as one of the vice presidents. Mnangagwa is capable of doing such a thing. You're going to see it. What is going to happen and the changes that are going to happen are big. He's going to make big changes because this is about succession. So if Mnangagwa makes a wrong appointments now, that is going to affect his plans. And his plans are big. So his plans, Mnangagwa's plans for succession are big. He's going to make sure that he wants to cover any potential situation. So what is called scenario planning. Mnangagwa is going to have scenario 1, What if this happens? Then how do I deal with that? So most of the people that you see on this screen are spent forces. So starting at the top here, Mtuli Ngube is just basically the deputy of his deputy. You can see all these guys here. Tatina Maritera has gone into hiding after she was found out to be supporting Chiwenga. And basically, Opam Chinguri there, then David Mnangagwa down here. These are the people that are going to play a big part. Owen Mudha over there. And most likely, they're going to bring in Auxilia Mnangagwa somewhere. Because if Auxilia Mnangagwa comes in, she's basically another Mnangagwa. So the way they've been promoting Auxilia Mnangagwa, I won't be surprised if they put her into that position as one of the vice presidents. Can you believe a country where the president and the vice president are from one family? That would be shocking. But under Mnangagwa, I do not doubt the possibility of such a thing. That they could replace Mohadi with Auxilia Mnangagwa. It's possible. And then we'll be having a drama of the year. So that is something to look at. Chiwenga will not be allowed to walk into State House. And a lot is going to happen between now and the end of the month. Then obviously, you still have the case of Wikino Chivayo. Wikino Chivayo belongs in house arrest. So as soon as Wikino Chivayo, a new government comes into office, Wikino Chivayo will be under house arrest. This man is part of the corrupt system, including Opam Chinguri. You can see that she's also part of the corrupt system over there. So she's also going to be part of this house arrest. Then let's look at the generals. The generals, they've been killed. The ones that are around are living from one house to another. As we speak right now, no general sleeps in one house. They move from one place to another. They sleep in the barracks for fear of being killed. And they avoid all public gatherings. So this situation is up in the air. You're going to see a lot this year, especially between these two men. And this is the last picture where the two were happy together. You're going to see more and more fighting between the two. So I would like to thank all of you for watching and for supporting our plans. As I said, this year we're going to go corporate. So Kambako is going to go corporate. We're going to make a lot of money for you. And most of the guys who are living overseas who don't have a house, you're going to have a house. Houses are cheap, especially given that land is cheap in Zimbabwe. I'm just showing you some of the models. I'm going to be meeting these guys in a few weeks' time. This is another type of tiny home. Tiny homes are very neat, like they're extremely neat and they're very cheap. So it's very rare to find a tiny home which is above $10,000. And I've shown you our tiny home model, which is here in South Africa. And that tiny home model is 5,000. To build it is less than 5,000. To deliver it to you is 5,000. So you can imagine how many tiny homes models are there. Look at this. How many people in Zimbabwe with a home like this, which is self-contained, which is with everything? These things are very easy to build. And we're going to be working very hard on affordable housing. A lot of people are already talking to me about this, and it's going to be a big trend. However, what is lacking in Zimbabwe is connectivity. So if you want to develop Zimbabwe, you must connect everything with high speed. And high speed rail is going to be hard. It's going to be high on the agenda. We've got our own company, National High Speed Railway. So it's already incorporated here in South Africa. And you're going to see a lot of work taking place. Very, very exciting. And these things are going to be happening in the next week or two. So in January, we're going to be launching a lot of things. And I'm happy with all the support that you guys have been giving us. I heard Wilson Manasseh, that lawyer is one of Chiwenga's trusted advisor. Is that true? Wilson Manasseh, who is Wilson Manasseh? Let me check my email if I didn't ever receive an email from Wilson Manasseh. Let's see if I ever receive. Because the lawyers just want to sue me. And most times, sometimes I don't even read the letter. I never received a letter from Wilson Manasseh. So I don't think he is a bad guy. So most guys just write me and say, Kampakwe, we're going to sue you, you said something and so forth. But I don't see Manasseh here among those guys who threatened to sue me. So not sure what you're talking about, but there must be something about Manasseh that is happening. Couldn't super chat, but wanted to ask, is Wilson Manasseh Chiwenga's advisor? Okay, I don't know. General Kanyemba, this guy, Zanu is fine. That is General Kanyemba. I didn't say Zanu-PF is fine. Some people called me yesterday and said, you must remove the whole Zanu-PF for Zimbabwe to change. It's not true. There is power sharing taking place everywhere. United States, there was an election, President Trump won, but he still has to work with the Democrats. Similarly, if you look at South Africa, there's a GNU. If you look at Mozambique, there's going to be a GNU. The only place where there's no power sharing is Zimbabwe, where Mnangagwa is putting his family, only his family. And if he puts Opam Chinguri, that would be crazy. If he puts Auxilia Mnangagwa, that would be crazy. But to make matters worse, if he fires Chiwenga, everything will just blow up. So it will be a blow up. But don't put anything beyond Mnangagwa. He's capable of doing anything. That is why he's called Ngwena. He does things that you don't expect. And if you just stand around, he's going to get you. And this is true for Chiwenga. If Chiwenga just stands around thinking, Ngwena, he's going to be caught. Yeah, so that is why Ngwena, when we were kids, there was a song we used to sing, Ngwena Ngwena Oye. That is Ngwena. That is the man that is going to get you if you don't do what needs to be done. So when you see Ngwena, you poke him in the eyes. That is how you do it. Right, let's see if there's anything else I wanted to cover. As I said, H Metro, my favorite newspaper, somehow not appearing on any of the platforms that we normally find it, which is crazy. I don't know what the Famba say. Let's see if there's anything else here of interest before I go. Right, nothing here of interest. Of course, my man of the year. Many of you want to know. This is my man of the year. Not Sekruvena. Pastor Tafmane Masaya. I've got so much respect for Pastor Tafmane Masaya. I was murdered in Mavuku while campaigning, and all the work that I've been doing since January 2024 was because of this man. The traveling that I did, the writing of letters to all the presidents, all the protests, it was because of this man, Pastor Tafmane Masaya. And we were lucky enough to go and see his family. One of our journalists is, in fact, won an award. If you guys didn't know. So I'll let you talk for herself about the award that she won for human rights. But all I can tell you is that this is one of the cases that is not yet solved. And this is going to be solved. Don't worry. Scott Sampaya is going to end up in jail. He's going to be arrested. He's going to account for the murder of Pastor Tafmane Masaya. The people who killed him are going to be found. They'll be arrested and they'll stay in jail. So Scott Sampaya, the only man that is going to go to jail, I'll make sure of it. As long as I'm moving on my 2 feet, we'll make sure with Murume will Anedam Jerry. And then his friend, Uyu, is going to be in house arrest. So I saw Kuti Wikino went on one of the posts that I did and said I must phone him Andy Motor. And this Wikino, I just bought the worst car. Like, my car is a little tiny. I bought a little tiny car when I came down here. It's called a Hyundai i10, the smallest car ever. It's taking me from point A to point B. I'm not going to be looking at Wikino's cars or anything. But this man is going under house arrest as soon as there's a government change. So I want everyone to put that on record. The people like him, they destroyed our country. People are drinking sewage. There's no power because of an Wikino. And they killed a man who was just walking, doing nothing. They killed him and threw his body into Cleveland Dam. And then the police are refusing to investigate. They're holding on to the investigation report, which names everyone who was involved in this murder. So the police in Zimbabwe, they've got this docket. I've written to Mnangagwa. I've written to SADC, I've written to the president of Mozambique, Zambia, South Africa, all these presidents, and we've also did Protection of Information Act request. Our lawyers have been on this. We've gone international on this case, and eventually someone is going to listen to our call for the investigation into the murder of Pastor Tafmani Masai. So the biggest case, which is not solved, but we know the killers, that is Pastor Tafmani Masai. And I'm so happy that we did a lot for him, although he's gone. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I'm very, very excited about the future. I'm excited about what is going to happen. And we're always going to be present. We're going to do a lot in our country of Zimbabwe. And I hope that these events the ones that are coming in the future, don't result in so much disruption like what's happening in Mozambique. So amazing stuff that is coming. Thank you very much. This is our first broadcast. And I forgot to check with what did Chamisa say today. So I checked Chamisa saying 2024. I want to see if 2025. I want to see if he did anything else overnight when I was sleeping. I said, hello, 2025. We're in, all glory to God. So that is what Chamisa said. So let me tell you what the CIO said to me about Chamisa. So I've got some guys who I talked to in the CIO. So they call me and say, Gama, do you know Chamisa is not in the village? I said, what? I said, yes. Chamisa is back in Harare. That's what they said to me. And I said, oh, okay. So what does that mean? And they said, Chamisa is enjoying Harare a lot, much more than he used to enjoy it long back. So you can see with this picture, he's showing us Chamisa plucking fruits. Do you see how interesting it is? Chamisa really talks. Like, it's very rare to see Chamisa talking. If Chamisa was to speak today and say something, the whole country would just explode. Like, literally, if Chamisa comes out today and say, street, do you know that everyone will go on the street? So Chamisa is waiting for the right moment. And when he says street, it's going to be shocking. Mnangagwa anobudane 1 hour office. Love more job says gamba kwenye pachete chete. No. Why doesn't Scala run in 2028? Is popular? I don't think so. Scala is Mandela. He's not popular at all. The only popular person right now is Chamisa. The rest are just there. They are there. They are good. It's good to have people, but they're not as popular. It's also Chamisa. And I hope that Chamisa comes out and says street, and you see what happens. Everyone will be on that street, and Mnangagwa will be running. Right. I'd like to thank all of you for watching. I tended to get carried away there. 48 minutes. I'm talking longer than Makandiwa. Makandiwa, one of my favorite pastors. Did Makandiwa do an overnight, a crossover last night? Let's see if Makandiwa. I saw Java, he did a crossover, but I don't know if Makandiwa did a crossover. Yes, Makandiwa did a crossover, but do you know that Makandiwa's videos are getting less and less views? It's crazy. Like, Makandiwa used to be the top most watched people in Zimbabwe. Now Makandiwa gets 50,000, so on, small numbers like that. That's because I don't know what Makandiwa is about anymore. Like, Makandiwa used to come out and have a program to say, 6 weeks, I'm dealing with finance, I'm dealing with fatherhood, I'm dealing with he had programs and kind of themes. At the moment, if you say what was the theme for 2024, I'm actually very confused. This is very funny because I used to follow Makandiwa a lot, and I had one of my friends who was giving me Makandiwa content. So what happened? Someone broke into Makandiwa's archive and stole everything. That was crazy when it happened. And most of the videos that Makandiwa did when he was much younger were stolen. And what is making now is crazy stuff. For example, lessons from TB Joshua. And then you can just put the video now, like, and say theme. Very interesting to see Makandiwa evolving in this way. And we basically don't have a big pastor anymore. If Makandiwa is not there, we don't have a big pastor. Most of them are fake. For example, Magaya is fake. You can clearly see that Magaya is fake. So now we have Makandiwa, and then we have the guy in Bulawa who built a very, very big church. That guy is doing well. We've got the guys at Celebration Center. So some people that I could watch, but at the moment, the themes are not there. So I cannot connect. For example, Longpek, Makandiwa will say 10 prophecies of the year, and you name them, and something would happen. But now, we don't know what is going to happen. Then most of the prophecies are false, that are being issued. They're not coming true. Oh, there's absolutely no prophecy. So Makandiwa has removed the word prophet from his name. Can you believe it? That is crazy. So that is 2025 for you, our first broadcast. And I pray for God to give us good health so that we continue and become a bigger player in the coming days. So for me, it's very clear what I'm going to do. I've got a clear strategy. I know what needs to happen. But the environment is going to change drastically, especially between this man, Chamisa, what he does, and this man, Chiwenga, what he does. What is Chiwenga going to do? We all know what Mnangagwa is going to do. It's going to be quick. But what is Chiwenga going to do? Very, very important. 19 days. That is the time by which Chiwenga is going to be acting president. What would Chiwenga do with those days? Very interesting. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And a good first day of the year.